So, welcome, Paul. Earlier in the year, we talked together for a text-based interview, and in fact, it was, I think, the very first interview that I did this year. So it's a pleasure to do things now in a bit more depth by video. And of course, quite a lot has happened since then, since we spoke earlier. But firstly, what I want to do is to kind of refresh everybody's memories and start by asking you again if you can just give everybody who's watching an idea about your background, where you're from in Denmark, and what exactly your business interests are.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the wonderful stuff that you do for us Speedway fans. It's a great work that you do, and you allow, together with your contacts, you allow us to see Speedway almost every day throughout the season. So that's wonderful. Well, Michael, I'm born in Denmark. Born on the let's say the Speedway Mecca in Denmark on the west coast, which is naturally also the reason why I was involved in Speedway from a very young age, as my dad and my family, they took me for the races in Voyens, especially. At that time, I was with my brothers. I was a very young kid, of course, and I was more focusing on collecting bottles to sell at the kiosk and get some candy and some soda. Well, over the years, I've been very involved in Speedway. When I became a professional businessman, I got in contact with Nikki in 2009. Nikki and I, we are the same age, so we had a lot of things in common. And well, I signed a small deal with Nikki at that time, and it was basically the start. I had a few sponsorships, small sponsorships before Nikki, but he was the first guy from the top level that I signed up with. And I started to make a little bit of money in my business, and I was like looking very much into like making a difference compared with other companies, because a lot of other companies, they go with the football, the soccer, handball, or mainstream sports. And actually, it's not so easy to get our clients, our suppliers, and our network to join these things, because they get a lot of that from other companies and competitions of ours. So I started to build a lot on the Speedway, and still today, after let's say 15 years of being a sponsor in the Speedway sport, people are extremely amazed going to the races. We have been at several GPs with clients this year, and I have to say that I agree that okay, I can offer a bit more, because it's not just a ticket. I mean, you get the pit pass, you get the VIP, and all these things in a GP or in a league meeting also. Yeah. And of course, it gives something. It gives a deeper impression to our network and our clients and suppliers and so forth. And well, I try to build some momentum in my business around Speedway also, and 2024 has been a heavy one. We have done a lot of sponsorships with very good riders, and also a few clubs, which was it was kind of a decision I made in the last year, actually, that I wanted 2024 to be a year where we really stepped into the stage of Speedway once and for all. So that was it's been quite a lot this year. So let's see what we are gonna step into next year. About my business, I mean, I'm a shipping educated guy. I'm educated in Denmark and in Germany, and I started 3PL in 2005, and today it's a business with more than 100 people, 8 offices around Europe, and our primary activities is the forwarding, the shipping, global business of shipping. So that's we're moving cargo all around the world from small, tiny pieces to huge projects. So that's my business.
Yeah, and looking kind of over 2024, I mean, for Speedway fans themselves, I don't think any Speedway fan can have failed to have seen the 3P Logistics logos kind of popping up literally everywhere. I mean, we've talked about that, you and I, over the past few months. I've given you some examples of places where I've seen it in unexpected ways. And even today, watching a meeting from Pardubice, not only are there lots of riders who are sporting the logos, but I saw an interview with Joseph Frank, one of the former Czech riders, and there was the 3P Logistics logo on his top there. So I assume that you feel that you've succeeded this year in getting the brand out there and obvious to everybody.
Yeah, it's been very successful, and I would also like to say that I'm very grateful for how the riders and the people around Speedway they have accepted me and my companies into the world of Speedway. You know, I think Speedway is a very personalized sport, and if you are a good person, if you're a good man, I think also you have a good chance to be successful, especially as a sponsor for sure. I have a very good contact with the riders. I'm not like a sponsor who just placed 10,000 euro on the table and then I'm leaving. You know, I want to be a part of it, and I want to follow their careers, and I want to support them both on their business and also on their sport as athletes. So for me, it's a great honor. It's a great honor. It's been successful for sure.
And that's something that I've heard from numerous riders throughout the season when I've talked to them about your sponsorships. So looking forward to 2025, how do you think your sponsorships will look then? And do you think there might be some surprises with Team 3PL next year?
There will be. There will be a couple of good surprises within the sponsorships of ours. It's going to be changed a lot. I'm not the type of guy who likes to just to keep focusing in one direction. I'm gonna end a few sponsorships also. I'm not gonna tell who it is at the moment, but I'm gonna end a few sponsorships of the current ones, and I'm gonna switch to a bit more of a younger riders also, because I see now that well, I knew that, but I really see that Speedway today is also a sport of money, and the young guys they really appreciate if you can you can support them, whereas the major stars, they are maybe not that much in need of 5,000-10,000 euros. They are more like, you know, they are better given to the young riders. Yeah. So there's going to be some surprises. It's going to be nice, and I'm going to stay in the sport for sure. Yeah, I'm going to stay in the sport, and I'm going to keep developing my companies together with Speedway and around Speedway.
Okay, and also this year you sponsored the Swedish SGP in Målilla in Sweden. Are there any plans to repeat that and maybe add any more SGPs in 2025?
Yes, I actually reached out to Dakkane, and obviously they have had some changes now with Mikke Thunberg is going out of Dakkane. So, but I actually reached out that I would like to do the Swedish GP next year as well. Okay. And also I'm in contact with a couple of Polish GP sites.
Okay.
Yeah, and we didn't agree anything yet, but I think we'll get into some kind of Polish GP as well. You know, Polish is a big market for me as a transport and logistics company. So I'm looking very much towards the Polish market.
Fantastic. And then looking back over 2024, what do you see as the successes of the riders that you've backed individually?
Well, we didn't have too much metal this year individually. Okay, now the golden helmet is on, and I think Rasmus is still fighting for the top. But well, the success is for me. It's not always like winning the medals.
Of course.
A great success for me is also that I help to get the guys to reach a new level.
Yeah.
A guy like Rasmus Jensen, I started supporting just a few years ago, and with the support, I have seen him grow as a rider, grow as a businessman, and this is something that is very important for me, and that's also for me a winning case if I can help them to grow year by year, because if you do that, also the metal will reach your hands at one point.
Absolutely. And that's,
Yeah.
again, that's something that he has said to me personally about his help from you. So let's focus more now on your home nation of Denmark. And obviously, I've been across to Denmark a couple of times this year, watched a few meetings, and without a doubt, it has been a difficult season for lots of clubs. Probably mostly due to some very uncertain weather, especially in the first half of the season. Do you see a rosy future for the sport in Denmark? And if not, what do you think could be improved, in your opinion?
Well, it's not a secret because I've been quite open about that and Danish Speedway, they just have to professionalize. The Danish Speedway today is unfortunately very much run by it's maybe a little bit hard, but I have to say, they're run by small groups of individuals who had their opinion about running a club, and this opinion sometimes is a bit old-fashioned, and it becomes and they get out of let's say they get out of line with what is actually needed. There's no doubt, the stadiums, they have to be upgraded, they have to be modernized in order to maintain the interest from the public, and also they have to, of course, be very careful ensuring about rain. Rain is something that we experience a lot, like you do, Michael. But in general, the clubs around Denmark, they have to. The management of the clubs, they have to stand up and they have to step up, and they have to do a greater work in terms of professionalizing the entire clubs.
Yeah. So going back to the riders that you sponsor, I mean, we've already talked about it. I see many nationalities and different types of characters all being supported by you. And additionally, I know you gave strong support earlier in the season to the idea of Gleb Chugunov participating in the Speedway League this year in Denmark. And I also see that the two Russian-born riders, Emil Sayfutinov and Artem Laguta, who, let's remember, are also Polish, have been racing without any issues in Poland, as well as in the UK, and in Gleb's case, also in Sweden too. How do you view the refusal of the FIM to allow both of these riders to return to SGP duties?
Well, for me, it's absolutely nonsense. I have, for example, let me start with the Gleb case. It was absolutely horrendous. There's like 7, 8 club owners, club directors in the league in Denmark who decide that we don't want to let this guy ride in Denmark because he's born in Russia, which is completely outrageous. Greatness does not come. Greatness does not see where you're from.
Yeah.
Greatness comes from what you do and what you perform, and for me, it's like a bunch of honestly, it was a bunch of angry old men who had a little bit of power, and they wanted to show that they have this power. Luckily, we managed to make sure that it was this decision was changed in terms of the Danish league. But in my opinion, it should not even go there. I mean, it's for me, it's a reckless behavior to discriminate and to polarize people like that. Sports should bring people together.
Absolutely.
Sports should make people happy. and it doesn't have to have any effect of where you're from, or what passport you have, what race you have, or what color you have, or what religion you have, or anything. So from my point of view, the Gleb case was absolutely stupid.
Yep.
And luckily it ended in a positive way. In terms of Artem and Emil, it's very similar. It's very similar. I have a feeling that there's some people sitting somewhere who thinks they do something evil against Mr. Vladimir Putin. And that's not what they do. They do something evil against some great speedway riders.
Absolutely.
Who has absolutely nothing to do with that conflict. And this is again, greatness, should not discriminate. Greatness does not see where you're from.
Yeah.
And these athletes, they are great, and they should be allowed to show their talent, and they should be allowed to compete in the Grand Prix. It's without any doubt.
Yeah,
So,
and do you think that ultimately these people who are in charge could actually, through their actions, damage the image of the sport itself as a result of these things?
Michael, it's not a matter of if they could. They are damaging.
Yeah,
they are damaging the sport. This is a small group of people who sits on their hands, and they have their own subjective opinion, and they put it on the entire speedway world. It should not be like that, and it has to change. It has to change. It must change.
Yeah. So, if a big question coming next, if you were in charge of World Speedway, what changes would you see as being necessary in the wider kind of scale to take the sport forward?
Well, of course, there's a lot of of course, everybody should be allowed to compete. That's number one for me at the current moment. But there's a lot you can do with Speedway, because Speedway is a great sport. It has a great momentum to bring people together and make people happy. We don't suffer a lot, at least from hooligans and all these stuff that the other sports experiences.
Yes.
But I would definitely, one of the things that I have thought about is to make a Champions League.
Okay.
For Speedway riders, meaning that it could be both in club form and could also be in the individual. But let's try to see as a club form. We should definitely have the clubs competing across nations.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, English, Danish, Swedish, German, Czech, Polish clubs should be in a Champions League, and then competing to be the win the
European champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, certainly that's a very interesting concept, because all these countries have the necessary stadiums. All that's lacking, as you say, is just perhaps the organisation to put that together.
Yeah, it's and there's also a lot of volunteer involved in our sport and the Speedway sport, and of course a big shout out to the people who volunteers around Speedway, because it's wonderful to see how it brings people together as working in the stadiums, but also as spectators. But I do also think that we should try to bring in professionalize and to bring in more money to the sport, because the more money we have in the sport, it could be sponsors like myself or others. What we have seen with soccer is that soccer in a country like Denmark over the past 15 years, 20 years has been extremely professionalized, and it had helped the stadiums, it had helped the crowd, it had made even Danish clubs once in a while going to the soccer Champions League, and which obviously brings a lot of money into the clubs. So that's part of it for sure.
Well, these are really interesting and valid points that you've made, and it's wonderful just to listen to them. And also, I would say it's been an absolute pleasure, and as always, hugely enlightening to talk with you, Paw. I myself look forward very much to 2025 and to seeing how you plan to move things forward. So I'd like to kind of finish off by saying thank you so much for all you've done this year throughout 2024 for your various riders, for the various Grand Prix. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how things go in 2025. So to finish off, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for what you do for Speedway. Thank you so much.
Thank you, pal.